What's up, everyone? My name is Gary Blackwood. Welcome back to the vlog. Really sad today. It's the last episode of my LA trip. It's been an amazing trip, but all good things must come to an end, and here we are on the last day. I've got a 12-hour grind ahead of me before jumping on a flight back to London, so let's not mess around. There's so much poker to be played today. Let's get straight into it. We're starting our day at the Commerce Casino in Los Angeles before heading across town a little later this afternoon. I'm in a new table. The game looks good, and we've even got a round of blind 20s on the go. There are no straddles here, so if you want to do a straddle, you got a blind raise under the gun. The table is agreed to a round, and our first hand of note, I pick up pocket nines in the big blind. An unknown player is raised to $50 in the hijack. It folds all the way around to me, and second last to act, I think calling is fine here, but I do decide to put in the re-raise. I slightly prefer a 3-bet here. I make it $200 to go. The blind raiser is a very good reg from Israel. He is going to put in the cold 4-bet. He makes it $420 to go. This game is a $1,500 cap, which sort of explains his small cold 4-bet size here. It folds all the way around to me, and it feels kind of close, but given the good price we're getting right now, I decide to make the call, and like I say, he's very good. He's very capable of having bluffs and stuff like that, so I make the call, and we see the flop come down King 8-3 all diamonds. Not really what I was looking for here. I don't have a diamond in my hand, and he decides to c-bet for $100. This is like 1/9 the size of the pot. Again, this feels really close. I think pre is a good call, but I think it would be a mistake to call here without a diamond, so I just let it go. Very strange hand to start us off the day. But yeah, just check folding versus the 1/9 sized pot bet. Moving on now, I've got ace-8 of hearts under the gun. The 20 is still on, and I raise it on up to $50. Hijack is going to make the call. The blind raiser is going to make the call, and we go 3 ways to jack 10-7 with 2 hearts. With my combo draw, I definitely want to c-bet. I bet out for $55, and both players going to make the call here. Looking for a bit of help on the turn, and I guess turning top pair isn't the end of the world. I'm not sure if I want to bet this, though. Hands like king queen and ace jack and ace 10 have us in very bad shape here, so I do decide to check, and it is just going to check all the way round. River is the 8 of diamonds to give me 2 pair, but of course any 9 now makes a straight. When it checks to me versus 2 players, I decide this is too thin to bet. We check it on over to the hijack, and he bets out for $100. The blind raiser gets out the way. Action is back on me, and this is so milky. I don't think this is ever a bluff. Maybe worse for value, but I just can't think of any combos that you can have that are worse for value here. So I make a very disciplined fold. I ask him to show me a 9 one time, and he's nice enough to show that he had pocket 9s. Really happy with my fold now. I would have been so mad if he just turned over like 7-6 suited or something like that. But moving on, I've got king 5 suited in the big blind. Middle position is raised to $35. Low jack makes the call, small blind makes the call, and last to act, suited king, I make the call as well. We go 4 ways to the flop. It comes down 8-7 deuce with 2 spades. Action is going to check on over to the low jack, who takes a stab for $100. I think check raising is completely fine here. I actually randomize and land on call, so I make the call, and the original raiser is going to call in middle position as well. We go 3 ways to the turn, and it is a king to give me top pair. Pretty good turn here. I check, and it is just going to check all the way through. Pretty sure I've got the best hand here. However, when the ace rolls off on the river, I'm really not sure where I'm at again. Middle position is now going to lead out for $275. The low jack gets out the way, and it's a bit of an interesting spot because middle position was last to call on the flop, so I think they're just going to fold hands like ace king and ace queen very often. They shouldn't have much ace x here. Lots of hands like jack 10, 10-9, 7-6, 6-5, all these types of hands that can bluff, so I think my hand is a pretty good bluff catcher here. I decide to make the call, but alas, he has ace jack of spades. That actually makes a lot of sense for the way that he's played it. That could have been really ugly. I would have never put him on the nut flush if the spade had rolled off on the river. So yeah, disaster averted. Very swingy start to the day here, and 10 minutes later, I've got king 10 suited on the button. I'm going to raise it on up to $30. The Israeli Phil Ivey is to my left, and inevitably puts in the re-raise. He makes it $130 to go. Big blind gets out the way, and I make the call. We go heads up to the flop. It is 10-8 deuce with 2 hearts. Decent start with top pair, good kicker. And my opponent, of course, c-bets here. He bets out for $180. I fake tank for a few seconds, knowing exactly what I'm going to do. I make the call. Turn is the 5 of spades, 2 flush draws on board now, and my opponent bets again, this time for $480. This is a really big bet here. This pot is getting really kind of big. Given there are 2 flush draws out there, I decide that I have to just shove or fold my hand, and I think folding would be ludicrous, so I decide to just go ahead and stick it in. If he's got me beat, then he's got me beat. I fade the snap call, which is always a good thing, and when my opponent asks for a count, I'm pretty sure I've got the best hand. He's never tanking with an overpair here. He tanks for a very, very long time, and the more he tanks, the more I want him to make a call here with a hand like Jack 10 or something. Eventually, he just lets it go. Really interesting hand. I wasn't sure where I was at, but when I shoved and I didn't get snapped, I was feeling pretty confident. He actually said afterwards that he had king 9 of hearts. To be honest, I don't think he would have bluffed that on the river, so I'm kind of happy to just take it down on the turn and avoid, a really nasty river. A couple of pots after this hand going against me, and I am going to lock up a $472 loss here at the Commerce. Heading outside to record a very emotional outro. Really sad to be leaving the Commerce, but given I've got so much poker to be played today, let's just go ahead and skip it. I'm going to jump in an Uber, head across town, and get myself to the Hustler, ready to jump in and grind. I did record an emotional intro, but like I say, some amazing hands coming up. Let's just go ahead and skip it. First hand of note here at the Hustler, I pick up Jack 9 of diamonds in the middle blind. The cutoff is raised it on up to $35, and I put in the re-raise here. I make it $140 to go. My opponent is going to make the call, and we go heads up to the flop. It comes down ace 8 for rainbow. I've got that backdoor straight draw, backdoor flush draw working for me, so I bet out for $100. And my opponent makes the call. Turn is the 4 of clubs, and I don't think we've got a great hand to continue barreling here. We block hands like jacks and 9s and stuff like that that are going to just fold. So I check it on over to my opponent. He is just going to check it back, though. River is another ace. I, of course, can't ever win here if I check, but it's also not a great card to bluff because my opponent is going to call with like an 8 and pocket 10s and stuff like that now. So I just wave the white flag and check it on over to my opponent. He actually gives off a massive tell. I'm not going to say what it is, but I will live and die by this tell. Just the way that he cuts out his bet. He bets out for $225 here on the river. Now, given the tell that I've got and the fact that we block some like ace jack and ace 9 suited and stuff like that, I decide to get really out of line here. I put in the check raise. I make it $600 to go, praying this doesn't blow up in my face, but he does very quickly just go ahead and fold. It's my last day, so I've got to windmill this across the table. He tries to tell me that I was ahead and that I had the best hand. Don't think I believe him, to be honest, but yeah. Nice pickup for me here. It's one of the very few pots I'm going to win in the first couple of hours of this session. Just a bit of a gritty grind for me, but my buddy JT has joined the game. He's normally a limit hold'em player, but he does like to play some no limit. He brings a lot of action. He's a lot of fun to play with. Just like in this hand, he's going to put on the $80 straddle and carnage is going to ensue.
No, he's not. I'm calling blind.
Throw me one of them all-in buttons, please.
I'm going to show you one card.
And then,
I haven't looked yet.
Okay.
That's not the card. I need to see one card. No, show me one card. I haven't told you yet.
Okay, pick one.
Left.
My left or your left?
Your left.
What's the other one? What's the other one? What's the other one?
One of the best ones it can be.
Is it suited?
Yes,
Yeah,
Oh no!
Good, no, I had it. Good fold. Good fold. I gotta say, I'm really surprised that he's folded this ace-3 suited. I'm very happy that he has. I just had queen high, of course, but yeah, really happy to take this one down. 5 minutes later, I am going to do the $80 straddle in JT's honor, and once again, carnage is going to ensue.
I've aces that way. I promise
Come on, Gary. I haven't looked.
You haven't looked?
No, I'm giving them the information. He saw one ace. Oh, no. All right.
We have a sweat.
Yes.
No, he hasn't.
Like he hasn't even decided. Yeah, I know. Since I haven't seen my hand, I
Call.
want to go twice. Oh, no. No. I'm not looking to the river.
Turn him.
I'm not looking to the
I call.
I'm not looking to the river. Oh, man.
Fuck, I have one over.
One over?
Yeah, you can sweat. I'm not going to show you. No, don't show me. I'm a good sweat.
How do you wake up with Jackson?
Nice and slow, dealer.
Oh, I got there. That was me.
Oh.
No, that wasn't me.
How do you just have king 10?
Son son of a bitch, I'm a bear.
This is so unfortunate. I think the King 10 reshove versus a blind all-in is completely standard. It was so cool to wake up with pocket jacks, but alas, unable to hold. Really, really fun day, like I say so far. Everyone's laughing and joking and gambling and stuff like that. And next up, 10 minutes later, we've got a PLO double board bomb pot. I have got pocket 10s and a 9 and a 3 to go with it. And these are the two boards. I've got top set on the first board, although a bit of an ugly top set, and not a whole lot else on the second board. I'm going to call a pot size bet on the flop here, and then when the two turns roll off, my opponent is going to pot it again. And I am just going to let this go. I don't think we can call again here, especially with a 9 in our hand and all that stuff. So I do just let it go. Not running the best so far, but like I say, having lots of fun. The game is also kind of reggy now, but at least people are gambling. The $40 straddle is permanently on. Everyone's having a good time and stuff like that. I'm kind of loving life, to be honest. Next up, I've got pocket 10s in the blinds, and the button has raised it on up to $120. I'm going to put in the re-raise next act. I make it $475 to go. He thinks for a little while. He then tells me that he's got a pair. I really, really want him to just put it in. I've only got $1,500 in my stack here. But unfortunately, he is just going to let it go. When he says he's got a pair, he never has jacks or better. I was just hoping he sticks it in with like pocket 7s or something like that. But he does just let it go. 3 minutes later, I've got pocket queens, and I am in the $40 straddle. The cutoff is going to raise it on up to $100. It folds all the way around to me, and I, of course, put in the re-raise. I make it $400 to go. This is kind of funny because we are relatively shallow. Remember, this is a $1,500 cap game, but my opponent is not put off. He is going to make the call here. We're going to go heads up to the flop. It comes down 9-7 deuce with 2 spades. Pretty decent flop for my pocket queens. I bet out for $275. A little smaller because of the low stack to pot ratio, and my opponent moves all in. I snap call with the pocket queens. He asks if we can go twice. I say yes. He has got ace king of spades. I really didn't want to see that. I was hoping for like pocket 10s or 10-9 suited or something like that. Dealer, one time, let me hold twice. Queen of diamonds one time. I have got one out going to the river here. What you guys are about to see is the most incredible... Oh, that would have been cool. Just kidding, obviously. It would have taken some special kind of run good to find the one outer there. Still, given what he had, chopping is not the end of the world. I'm not down too much today. I'm only down 2.4k considering the commerce earlier and the 4.5k pot and stuff like that. Being down $2,400 is not the end of the world. The game is now 5-handed and it is kind of hanging on a bit. I've got 6 hours to go until my flight. I really hope it doesn't break early and I'm just left twiddling my thumbs. I'm also going to take a very unfortunate beat in a PLO double board bomb pot here. We actually had a 4-way all-in with 2 players just gambling it on up. I was actually good on the board. I didn't think that I had much on, but couldn't hold 4 ways and took a bit of a bad beat on the other board, losing the full $1,000 cap here. Very unfortunate indeed, and now down 3.4k. I hope I'm not going to lose like 10k on my last day and cry all the way home. Next up, I've got ace-9 of clubs in the straddle. Under the gun is limped in. Small blind makes the call. Big blind makes the call, and I raise it on up. I make it $100 to go. Under the gun is going to make the call, and then the small blind moves all in for $870 total. Now, this is really tempting because whoever overlimps out of position from the small blind with a really strong hand here, we're also getting relatively good odds given the amount of money that's already in there, but I think this might just be a little too loose. A hand like ace-jack would probably be the cutoff for me here, so I decide to be a very good boy and just let it go. It is tempting, and maybe a couple of years ago I would have made this call here out of frustration given how the day's gone and stuff like that. But yeah, just letting it go. And we move on to the next hand. The game is now filling up with a couple of players that I've never seen before, and one of them is a very loose goose indeed. For this hand, I've got king, queen of clubs in the cutoff. I raise it on up to $50. The middle blind makes the call. The big blind makes the call. And we see the flop come down 9-8-6 with 2 clubs. Action is going to check on over to me, and with my 2 overs, my flush draw, I want to bet out here. I bet out for $60. Both players are going to make the call here, and we see a board pairing 6 on the turn. It checks on over to me, and betting again is probably fine, but when the 6 pairs, I think a lot of my range wants to check, so I decide to check this one back. River is an offsuit king, happy to have improved, but a little taken aback when middle blind bets out for $600 here. This is a very large bet in relation to the size of the pot. But there are plenty of bluffs that my opponent can have. Like I say, he's a very loose goose. He's going to have hands like ace-7 offsuit, queen-10 offsuit, jack-10 offsuit, plus all the missed flush draws as well. So I decide to look him up here. He has got 10-7 of diamonds. Did not expect that. He has just flatted my flop bet with the absolute nuts. But to be fair to him, he's been paid on the river as a result. Nice hand to my opponent. I just can't seem to win a nice pot here so far today. But maybe these pocket jacks will bring me the big pot that I am so desperate to win. Under the gun has limped in. A couple of other players have called as well. And at the straddle, I make it $130 to go. Under the gun, snap makes it 500. Oh my god, it folds all the way around to me. And to be fair, I'm quite proud of this. I fairly quickly fold my pocket jacks. And he shows me pocket kings as he mucks. Really, really happy to see that. If it was pocket tens or ace king or something like that, that would have been pretty tilting. I also haven't topped up over the last couple of hands and picking up pocket sixes in the middle blind here. I raise it on up to $60. The loose goose in the big blind is going to make the call, and then a decent local pro is going to make it $260 to go out the straddle. Now, we're not deep enough to call here, and as well as that, this player plays quite well. He's also going to be squeezing quite wide because of the dead money of the loose goose and stuff like that. So I decide to move all in here. I promise you I'm not tilting. Some of you guys watching this might be like, whoa, you're just spewing by going all in here with the pocket sixes. But like I say, I think he's going to be squeezing really quite wide here, and we can just get this through and take down a few $100. He does very quickly let his hand go, and I think this is pretty good. I'm not ready to count how much I'm down for the day yet, but I'm estimating it's around $4,300 or so, which is a little depressing, but like I say, I think I'm playing quite well today, just not running the best. Picking up ace-8 of hearts on the button here, I raise it on up to $50. Straddle is still on, and the straddle is going to defend. We go heads up to the flop. It comes down 8-8-4 rainbow. I've been waiting all day to flop a set, and it has finally happened. I'm going to c-bet here for $40, and my opponent very quickly raises. He makes it $200 to go. This is absolutely beautiful here. I fake tank for a little while and then make the call. My hand is going to get even better as the turn is an ace to give me a full house. What's more, my opponent is going to continue to bet. I really do think he's got a set of eights here when he bets out for $310. My full house, of course, beats his set. I fake tank for a little while and then make the call. The river is an ace though. This is a disaster because if he does have an 8, he's not going to be loving this river at all. I am so annoyed. I thought finally we've got a run good hand. We're going to cooler this guy. And then this is the run out. He checks it on over to me on the river. I, of course, bet out. He very quickly folds. He tells me later that he had jack-9 of diamonds, but I don't know, to be honest. I'm not sure whether or not I believe him. The game is really splashy again. It's full. I'm absolutely devastated that I have to leave very soon to go to the airport. Not before picking up pocket aces under the gun, raising it on up to $50. Middle position makes the call, and then the button puts in the raise. He makes it $200 to go. Action is back on me, and I am salivating at the prospect of putting in the 4-bet here. I make it $500 to go. The button is going to go all in for $800. To be honest, I didn't see that he only had 800. I would have chosen a smaller 4-bet size if I'd seen that, but no harm done. We're playing for all the chips. We're running it once here at his request. He has got ace king. Let's see if we can hold.
There's my thing.
My opponent managed to turn a few outs, but thankfully we were able to hold and drag in a nice pot to finish up. This is going to be the last hand of note that I play before heading to the airport. I had a lot of fun today. It was an amazing session. Everyone was laughing and joking and double and triple straddles and stuff like that. Just unfortunately didn't run the best on the last day. Results for the trip are also on your screen as well. I have got one last video to release from this LA session where I'm going to break everything down. So be sure to click the sub button so you don't miss that. I'll be out in 3 or 4 days. Guys, thank you so much to everyone that's tuned in and liked and commented and subbed across the whole trip. It's been absolutely amazing. I've got another trip planned for February. I'm going to run it back. It's going to be amazing. But yeah, really appreciate you guys for interacting with all my content. Thank you so much for watching. Happy New Year. And I'll see you in this bonus video that'll be out in 3 or 4 days.